Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig and I'm here with the always awesome Jess Howard. You are now part of the Jess-umentary. So if you don't know what this is all about, let me catch you up. Jess is incredible. She is a magician, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to, over the course of a few months, get her from having never done a professional gig to being a Vegas headliner. And we're going to be documenting the journey from everything from performance to business to marketing to social media and all points in between. So, with that in mind, I've caught you up, and you can go and see the previous episodes on the playlist, on the Jess-umentary playlist. But without further ado, I am here with Jess. How you doing, Jess? You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Good. I know last time I spoke to you, you were kind of in the middle of exams. Are they finished now?
Yeah, done. Yeah.
Yeah. You feeling confident?
No.
Just like me when I was at school. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome stuff. But more importantly, forget about education for a minute. Let's talk about magic. How have you been, since the last time I chatted to you? What have you been up to? Because I know I gave you a bit of homework. We're going to, you were looking at websites. You were also, continuing with social media, which I know is going great, which is fantastic. We can talk about that later on. And we were talking about performance and set lists, and we're going to get into all of that today. But catch me up on where you were from last week to this week.
So, in terms of what you've asked me to do,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
suppose I've kind of hit, uh, created a bit of a list of the tricks which I'm confident doing close up at the moment. Which if you ask me to do it tomorrow in a set, I could do basically.
Oh, brilliant.
With a little bit of practice, but not, but like, which I know quite well or have known quite well in the past. And in terms of a website, I've started it. I've done the homepage and the about page, and I've kind of set up how the rest of it will go. Um,
Wait, could I look at it? Would that be okay?
yeah. Can I
I
share my
can give
screen?
you, well, I need to just make you co-host first. So if I do
Okay.
this and click on more and click on make co-host, have you ever shared the screen on Zoom before?
No.
So there's a green button somewhere. Are you on a laptop or a computer or a phone?
Laptop.
Laptop. So you'll see a green button at the bottom that says
Oh
share.
yeah, got it.
If you click that, now when you've clicked that, you'll see lots of windows. You want
Oh
to
yeah.
share the window that's got the website on it. Or if you haven't got a window open with the website, open that window, then click on share again. And then what will happen is that will then, oh, I don't even need to tell you, you're done. You started screen sharing. That's amazing.
Ah, there we are.
I like that.
Although
Brilliant.
I think the picture, when I have better pictures of me performing, I'd put a better picture as the homepage, probably.
Okay. That's cool. That's not bad. That's really good actually. Okay. Creating magical moments for all. That's good. That's good. Um, Jess Howard is an award-winning magician from Wiltshire, specializing in close-up and stage performances that are designed to leave a lasting impression on audiences of all ages. Whether it be an intimate close-up setting designed to give guests a one-on-one magical experience, or a large stage show showcasing visual storytelling and sleight of hand, Jess is guaranteed to leave you with an experience to remember. That's great. Before we carry on,
Yeah.
can I give you one piece of advice?
Yeah.
Now, it's completely up to you, but in terms of that paragraph there, and it's worthwhile knowing this
Yeah.
before you move on with the rest of the website. There's two ways to write a website. There's two ways to write and create the content for a website. Third person, writing it in the third person or writing it in the first person. So by the third person, that's kind of what you're doing now, where it looks like the website is being written by somebody else about you. Jess is an award-winning magician. Jess is this. If it was written in the first person, it would be, hey, welcome to my website. My name's Jess, and I'm an award-winning magician. Now, I always say, unless you're planning in a short period of time to create a big multinational event and entertainment agency, it's best to write it in the first person.
Okay.
The reason is when people go onto the website, they want to know about you. They want to feel like they're connecting with you. You want to give them a reason as to why they book you. The biggest problem I have with my company, Slightly Unusual, is that we can't do that because Slightly Unusual represents so many magicians. When people go onto my website, it reads Slightly Unusual is an entertainment agency, blah, 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 blah. I can't I can't talk about Slightly Unusual as my as myself because it's too big an entity, if that makes sense. And I've lost customers in the past. I've lost bookings, people who were potentially going to book us and they didn't. And we always ask the question when people don't book. That's absolutely fine. I'm really glad that you've got somebody. What's the reason that you didn't go with us? And they said, we wanted to get to know personally the magician we were booking. We didn't just want to go through a big company and not really know who it is that we were getting. So, and that's happened to us more than once. And it's a negative for us, but it's a positive for you because it means that you can use that to your advantage. When you're writing the copy, you can get it so that people feel like they're getting to know you. And when they get to feel like they know you and like you, that's when they book you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So before you create all of your copy, and really it's up to you, you will see one-man band entertainers. In other words, somebody who kind of works on their own. You will see individual entertainers that have websites where it's written in the third person. But I honestly think writing it in the first person is the best thing that you can do.
Yeah.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's okay. Let's carry on. So keep going down. Was there any more to it? Yep. Okay. Services. Yep. That's where you'll put your services, I'm guessing. And that's where you'll put your testimonials, contacting inquiries.
And then that's the end.
Cool. Brilliant stuff. What I would encourage you to do as well
Yeah.
is think about your color scheme. Did you think too much? Did you think much about your color scheme?
Not yet, no, not
Okay. So
particularly.
think about your color scheme because that color scheme will bleed throughout whatever your color scheme is, whatever your brand colors are. And by brand, I mean, if you think about McDonald's, for example, it's yellow and red, isn't it? If you think about, sometimes there's some businesses that are identifiable just by their colors, and colors
Yeah.
will also tell people an awful lot about the person or the business they're searching for. And what a lot of people do when they first make a website, and this is what you've done here, is they don't think about the colors, so they just pick arbitrary colors. Like you've got gray in the background, and you've got white writing, and that might not be the best colors for you. I don't think for a magician, white and gray is the best option. So what I want you to do is have a think about what you want your brand colors to be and then uh, design the website with those colors in mind, if that makes sense. Because the other thing is, if you go down slightly and look at that picture, that is a great picture of you. That is an absolutely amazing picture. That just sums up magic and everything. That's great. Skilled with a pack of cards, wonderful stuff. But the picture's in black, and then the writing's in white, and then the background's in grey, and there's a let's chat in red. And it's like there's just like colors all over the place, and you want to try and kind of make it as uniform as
Yeah.
possible. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So have a think about the colors and have a think about the actual copy and see if you can make it in first person instead of third person. But the actual look of the website is great. You've got that hero image, and obviously you're going to get better pictures, but that's actually a decent picture. It's not bad. It's not bad at all. You can see that people are really enjoying the magic, which is great. Is that the logo that you've gone for up there, the JH with the heart?
It is at the moment, but I did kind of what you suggested with going to ChatGPT and getting it to kind of make it for me, and it was going okay. Although I made a really terrible one first, and then it made that another one, and then I've done it over quite a few days because it's like there's like a limit because obviously it's a free one.
Yeah.
There's a limit of like two downloads a day, so I'm kind of just going with it until I can get a
Until you get
perfect
one
one.
that's perfect, yeah.
Yeah.
That's smart. And I can see you've got in the top right, you've got a Instagram link. Is
Yeah.
Instagram really the only sort of social media platform you've got at the moment? Yeah.
Yeah, I did connect, like you suggested the other week, I connected my Instagram to a Facebook account
Okay. Has
yesterday.
Has it been connected to a business Facebook account?
Yeah, but the problem is it's a business account, but it says like I'm not really sure why, but as I'm under 18, it says something about not being able to be accessed by people who you're not friends with on Facebook.
Really? Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'll have a look another look, see if it because I had like a just a Facebook account to look up at village stuff and but um it didn't let me make like a new account. It only made let me make like a business page off of that account. So I I don't know whether it is like a true business account or just like a business page. So
Well, you have a look at that, and if you're still
yeah,
struggling with it, we can look at it together next week. That's not a problem.
yeah,
Um, but I mean, Instagram is where you're kind of doing a lot of the stuff at the moment, isn't it? So that's absolutely
yeah,
fine. Okay, cool, brilliant stuff. One other thing with the logo, if you keep lucking out with the logo, if you're not happy with it at all at any point,
yeah,
the other thing that you can do, have you heard of Fiverr.com?
yeah,
So sometimes it's worth going onto Fiverr as well, and you can get some really awesome logos designed quite inexpensively on Fiverr. Um, but the other thing that you can do, we're talking about ChatGPT.
yeah.
Have you ever considered asking ChatGPT what your website should look like or what you should include in your website? This is something. See, a lot of people they use ChatGPT like they use it like a search engine, but it's actually capable of so much more. So, for example, let me just if you stop sharing your screen for a second, Jess. I have the paid version of ChatGPT, so I'm going to try this. Okay, so let's try this. I have a friend called Jess Howard. She is a 17-year-old magician in the UK and wants to become a full-time magician. She is currently designing her website and is primarily wanting close-up magic and stage magic. Although she's never performed professionally, she is planning on becoming semi-professional as soon as possible. Can you please give some advice on colors for her brand and give 10 points that she should take into consideration when designing her website, both from an external aesthetic point of view and also from a behind the scenes point of view to actually generate traffic? Mhm. Oops. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. Um, she is mainly looking for corporate and wedding work and private parties. Oh, hang on. She's mainly looking for corporate and wedding work, private parties, and perhaps restaurants. So, have you ever tried doing something like that in ChatGPT?
Not really, no.
Well, let's see what it says. That's fantastic to hear about Jess Howard. Since she's at the start of her professional journey, getting the branding and website right is a huge step in the right direction. Here's a breakdown guide to help her, and I'm going to WhatsApp this over to you in a bit, but we'll talk about it. Recommended brand colors for Jess. Since Jess is aiming at corporate events, weddings, private parties, and restaurants, her brand should strike a balance between elegance, trustworthiness, and modern flair. Consider the following palette options: deep plum or burgundy, sophisticated and unique without being dark. Warm gold or champagne adds luxury and perfect for weddings and upscale events. Charcoal grey and midnight blue, professional, classy, and versatile. Soft ivory or white pearl, clean background fonts and a modern look. An accent colour, teal, rose gold, or emerald, something with personality that pops gently. Avoid bright or neon colours. They can feel unpolished or too casual for corporate and wedding clients. 10 key points for designing Jess's website. Aesthetic and user experience tips. Professional photography. Use high quality headshots and performance images. even if these are staged. These images build instant trust. Now, ChatGPT is saying stuff that maybe some magicians would disagree with there, but I actually agree. Stage a couple of performance shots. So get some friends or some family and explain what you're doing, because that leader header page on your website is is good, but it could be a lot better, because the problem is you can't really see you. You can see them, you can't see you, and it kind of looks like you're in a bit of a jumble sale. So it's better than nothing, but it's not the best image. But imagine you went over to, let's say you went out with your some friends, or you went out with some family to a restaurant or around their house. And it doesn't have to be two staged, but you give somebody a camera and you go to perform a couple of tricks to them. And you go, look, as I'm performing these tricks, can you just freak out? I know you've seen them before, but can you go, oh my God, that's amazing? And you get your friend to capture it. Those photos will be so much better. And it's the old expression, fake it until you make it. So until you've got those sort of photos organically, just and we'll talk about how to get those photos organically by doing free events and creating assets and so on and so forth. But as you're designing the website now, ChatGPT is not wrong, even if staged. Just get some friends and some family around the house, get them to freak out to a couple of tricks that you're performing, take the pictures, and I guarantee you that'll be a much better picture. And the camera on an iPhone is brilliant. I told you this, clear value proposition above the fold. The very first thing visitors should see is who Jess is, what she does, and who it's for, e.g., elegant magic for weddings, parties, and corporate events. You want to make sure that they get that straight away. The problem is, if somebody's looking for a wedding or a corporate event and they see that image that comes up, they're not going to think, oh, this is the perfect person for a wedding. They'd think this is the perfect person for a Morris dancing convention, right? So it's really make sure that that hero image is really, really good, and it clearly defines who it is, who you are, and what you're doing. I've talked to you about customer avatar, right? Get in your head who your
Yeah.
customer avatar is, and have that image dictate that. Um, Mobile first design. This is really important. Most traffic will come through phones. Make sure it looks great, but loads fast on mobile. I don't know if you've got to this point on Wix yet, but you can switch between desktop view and mobile view, and you can design. You want to make sure that the design looks great on a mobile view, because a lot of people search for this sort of stuff on mobile. So having it mobile optimized is really important. Um, Consistent branding across all of the pages. Fonts, colors, and tone should be unified. Now, we've talked about colors, but fonts and tone is equally as important. So don't have a mishmash of lots of different fonts. It should be unified across the whole website. It says here it establishes trust and professionalism. And then embed video demo or sizzle reel. Well, we've not got a video demo or a sizzle reel yet, but yeah, that would be important. SEO optimize. So now it's talking about traffic and marketing considerations. SEO optimized pages use keywords like wedding magician UK, corporate close-up magician, magician for parties. So when you're writing your copy across your various different pages and your services and so on and so forth, think about, do you know what I mean by keywords?
Yeah.
So it's like what people search for. Yeah.
Mm.
You can analyze keywords in tools such as Google Analytics, but let's not get too deep into that right now. Just use your instinct for now. So think about what words people would use if they were searching for a magician. If you were looking for a magician, what would you Google? You'd probably Google, wedding magician or close-up magician in Wiltshire or whatever the case may be, right? So whatever it is that you would search for, like use the in the back end, you can optimize it, and there's videos on this on Wix, but I can help you if you need me to. There's SEO. You can optimize the pages for SEO. It basically means that you can put keywords into the photos, you can put keywords into the website. Fast page load speed. Use compressed images and a good hosting service. Yeah, so when you're putting the images on there, compress them. Do you know what I mean by that?
No.
Okay, no problem. So one of the most important things, have you ever been onto a website, Jess, and it takes forever to load? And
Yeah.
you're waiting for it to load and it's just not loading. And so you don't think it's loading. So you think it might be your internet. So you start to refresh it and it's still not loading. So you end up going to another website. Have you ever had that?
Yeah.
Yeah. that whatever website you were trying to go on initially that you've now gone off and tried to find a different website has just lost you as a visitor. And the reason they've lost you as a visitor is because it took too long for their website to load. You want to try and make your website load as quickly as possible. Now, if you think about it, when someone goes onto a website, that's a lot of data that needs to download onto their device. There's a lot of content on a website. So you want to try and make sure it loads as quickly as possible. I can't remember the exact statistic, but if a website takes longer than, oh, this is how important you are. I've got Pete Turner calling me and I'm switching him off. World's greatest mentalist, and you are more important. I just want you to know that. Sorry, Pete. Yeah, you're out of here, mate. Anyway, where was I? Yeah, so you want to make your website load as quickly as possible. So one of the ways of doing that is by, instead of putting video in there, you embed a video. So when you get to the point where you're putting a video in there, instead of like having to load an entire video, you embed a YouTube link. So it plays through YouTube, that sort of thing. But you want to make sure any images that you use are compressed. Now there's free compression software out there that you can use online. If you just Google photo compression or image compression, you'll find lots and lots of pages that will compress images. Now, it will reduce the quality of the image, but when they're looking at it on a website or they're looking at it on a mobile phone, it's not really too much of an issue. It becomes an issue if you're printing it out and sticking it in your mantelpiece in a frame, but when it comes to actually being on a website, it's totally not an issue. So compressing those images, especially like a really big image like you've got there on your hero image, a really big image, compressing that will make the page load quicker. When the page loads quicker, you're going to have more people going to the website. When more people go onto the website, you've got more chance of people going, yes, this Jess, this is the person I want. I want to book her. But step one is getting them onto the website in the first place. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
What else have we got here? Contact form and clear CTA on every page. A visible book Jess or inquire now button should be everywhere. Did I tell you about that before? Don't think I did I?
I don't think so. No.
So if we go on to, we'll use Thomas Maloney as an example. Hang on a minute. So I'm sure Thomas won't mind, and I've done a lot of work on Thomas's website. Let me just get it up here. Apparently I can't spell Thomas. Perfect. So Thomas is somebody I worked with about a year ago to get his website. That I had the conversations I'm having with you, I had with Thomas. So if we look at his website, look at that for a hero image. You see, that's kind of what we're looking for. Get one of your friends to do that. Obviously, they don't have to dress in a bridal gown or anything like that, but and get one of your friends to do that where they're freaking out, and everyone's having a great time. Get a couple of people around there like that, fake that image. But do you notice what happens right at the very top? Check availability. Now, when you click that, that's going to take you onto Tom's contact form, right? Immediately take you onto Tom's contact form. And then as you go down, you're going to see, hopefully, if he's done what he's meant to, you're going to see check availability again, maybe even a couple of times. There you go, right there, check availability. So you're going to see check availability quite a lot. And then when you go on to, for example, the package page, you're going to have check availability there. Because here's the thing, what these buttons are, check availability. Check availability. You see, you get the point. What that's called is that's called a call to action or a CTA. And you've got to have a very clear call to action. So you have to think about what you want your website to do when you get people to visit your website. What do you want them to do? Well, ultimately, you want them to inquire to book you for an event. So how do they inquire to book you for an event, right? By filling in a contact form. That's typically the way. So without getting too complicated and without getting too much into sales process, there's this thing called impulsing, and when people visit your website, they get impulse, they get excited. Oh my God, this is the person I'm looking for. This is who we need for our event. This is great. If they then have to spend ages looking around to find a way to get information off you or to get a quote off you, or whatever the case may be, they're going to go elsewhere. So you have CTAs, call to actions, buttons everywhere that point them directly towards what you want them to do. In this case, fill in a contact form. Yeah. So make sure that when you're make sure that when you're designing the website, there's regular buttons that take them through to the end goal of the website. Next, it says Google Business Profile and Location Targeting. Even if she's not listed as a business yet, claiming free Google business listing can help her appear in local searches. That's true, but let's get the website up and running before we do that. I've told you we need to do that, but let's just skip that for a bit. Email capture for long-term marketing. Offer a freebie like 5 things. Oh, shut up, ChatGPT. That's a ridiculous idea. If Jess wants to stand out really early on, consider a personal touch. Meet Jess page that shares her story, being a young female magician breaking into a male-dominated industry adds uniqueness and relatability. I would actually do that, Jess. I really would. But I'd make
Yeah.
it not just about a young magician. I'd make it not just about a female breaking into a male-dominated industry. I'd talk about a young female breaking it. You know, it's not just that you're female, it's also that you're quite young. You've got two things that you've had to fight against. And it's right, it does add uniqueness and relatability. And I love that meet Jess. So that is off ChatGPT. And then it says at the end, if she likes, I can also help with a sample website structure and homepage layout, which is very useful for you. So a lot of people, I'm going to send that over to you. I'm going to WhatsApp that over to you now. But that is an example of using ChatGPT in a way that it's actually useful. You know, a lot of people don't use ChatGPT for anything, but it can actually um, really be very, very useful. So I'm going to send that over to you. I'm going to WhatsApp that over to you now. The other thing that you can do, I mean, you can use ChatGPT to do anything. So we talked about keywords. I've just WhatsApp that over to you. For
Good.
example, we could say, Jess lives in Wiltshire. Could you please suggest a list of 20 keywords and key phrases that she can use within the copy of her website that will help from an SEO point of view? Also, do you think that first person would be the best way to structure the content instead of third person? Absolutely. Using local SEO and the right voice will help Jess build credibility and visibility quickly. Should Jess use first person or third person? For a solo performer like Jess, especially someone young and entering a personal service industry like magic, first person is definitely the best choice. Here's why. Authenticity. People connect better when it feels like Jess is talking directly to them. Trust, I specialize in, feels more genuine than Jess Howard is a magician who. And relatability, it's warmer and more personal, especially for weddings and private events. Instead of Jess Howard is a Wiltshire based magician specializing in weddings and corporate events. Use, Hi, I'm Jess, a Wiltshire based magician who brings unforgettable magic to weddings, private parties, and corporate events. Do you see the difference?
Yeah.
It's saying exactly what I said, but in a much better way. So here's a list of 20. Here's a tailored list for Wiltshire and the surrounding areas, targeting her services and goals. These should be used naturally in her homepage, the About section, services page, blog posts, and image alt texts. That basically means that when you put an image up, you could, if you look on the image settings, you'll see a video on this in Wix. And you see a video when you see an image in Wix, you can go into the alt settings and you can put keywords in there as well, so that images get picked up in Google as well as just the copy on the website. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So we've got really some great ones here. Magician in Wiltshire, close-up magician in Wiltshire, Swindon magician for events, Bath magician for parties, interactive magic for guests, female magician UK, a niche worth targeting, table magician for hire. You know, there's loads of them here. And then it's got some bonus SEO tips as well. Use header tags. You'll use alt text or images. Should include location and type of magic, e.g., Jess performing close-up magic at a Wiltshire wedding. So when you put the video, so that picture that you put up, you probably didn't put any alt text behind it, but what you do is you go into the settings for the picture and you would describe it using the using the keywords I'm sending over to you now. So it would be Jess performing close-up magic for some amazed spectators at a festival in blah. You get the idea. So I'll send that over to you as well. So there you go. The point is, ChatGPT is very useful if you're struggling with stuff when it comes to your website. It's a very useful thing to be able to use. So I've sent that over to you. There you go. So that
Thank you.
gives you enough to carry on with the website. So by next week, let's see if we can get some more done on that. See if you can fake an image as well. See if you can get some. Have you got somebody in mind that you know well enough that could do this for you? A couple of people, potentially.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of people I could ask.
A couple of people you could ask to do that. That's brilliant. Okay, so we've got all of that. We're going to put a pin in the website for a minute. There's a lot more to do on business, but it's like I said, let's get that website set up first because that's kind of the first thing. Once we've got the website up and running, then we can open up the floodgates to a million other things. But let's get that
Yeah.
website up and running first. So from a switching back over to the performance, you made a list of all of the tricks close up that you would be comfortable doing. Have you
Yeah.
got the, where are those? Are they on your phone on a notes page? Ah, they're old school, like it. Okay, so I'm going to make notes on a notes page. So I have a section here on you. Let me just get to it. Right. Okay. So close up effects. Right. What have you got?
I probably will have forgotten some, but are we going from where we got to last week, or
Yeah.
actually I
Yeah.
can't remember where we got to last, which ones
We'll
we've
start
got.
start from the beginning then. I'll make a full complete list now. What have you
So we
got?
got card under box, which we mentioned last week, as well as ambitious card.
Yeah.
Um,
And
the
yeah.
the thing I mentioned last week about the red and black cards turning to the kings and the queens.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Um,
That sounds like All in Queens, so I'm going to call it All in Queens. Yeah.
two separate versions where like spec one which is a bit more with a normal deck, one which is with a double backer, using like where spectators basically guess for cards.
Okay.
Um,
So spectator is the mind reader type thing.
yeah. Um, things with invisible decks, mental photography decks, that type of thing. Stand Up Monte by Garrett Thomas. Chop Cup, your stick pack. Um,
Oh, well, I'm glad you like stick pack. I love.
yeah, I love that one. Um, this thing where it's either blank cards or like blank cards change into the four aces, four jacks, whatever I wanted to.
Okay, yeah.
Um, A cans, my go-to is normally the Grail one. Um, but I can do a couple of different A cans. Um,
Well, you know I love my ACAN.
yeah. So a couple of different ace tricks, including like McDonald's aces, one which the aces kind of help find a spectator's card. As well as yeah, two versions, one with just the aces, one with the whole deck, with some ace related stuff. Um thing like a linking card ring thing.
Wow, is that Ben Williams?
Yeah, Ben Williams.
Oh,
Um
is that OCL? One card link.
OC, it might be, I don't know.
Okay.
Um some it's like a mentalism trick with a picture deck, which this is something else now, which uh is like a mem deck but with pictures because I can't remember a deck of cards.
That sounds like Patrick Redford. Or maybe
No, it was
Gallery by Mark Spellman.
no, it was something from the session this year. I can't remember who it was, but
Okay.
someone taught about at the session. Um Socks, can't remember his by. Um
Oh my gosh, socks. It's by a friend of mine. Uh, oh, of course. Michelle Hood. I always spell his name wrong. Michelle.
yeah, I think
Hood. Yes.
yeah, I've
Yeah.
seen that.
Yes, the Vanishing Ink version.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where
Which
the card's in
which
the top.
method do you use for the force?
Timing normally.
Oh, do you ever find that fails?
Yeah, but if it fails, it doesn't like fail. It like you can recover it. Just not as obviously if a timing force goes well, it's the best method, I think. But if the timing force goes badly, it's not as good as the other forces, but it goes well more than it goes badly, if that makes
Okay,
sense.
that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, oil
Mm,
and water routines. A couple of them.
oil and water. Love it. Yeah.
Um, out of this world. Something with salt packets, which I learned quite recently, but I like it a lot. It's like I think it's I can never remember the names of tricks, but I think it's like Sneak Thief. Is that correct me if I'm wrong? Is Sneak Thief the one where they kind of like have five things and they swap one thing?
Sneak Thief is kind of like you've got four pieces of a card, for example, and four people would maybe do a drawing or something on there, and then you
Oh yeah,
mixed up, and then you take it back and you look at the drawing and you tell who's done that drawing, for example.
yeah. So it's a bit like that, but basically, um, four or five people, however many people have a packet of like whatever, a condiment, in their hand, and you turn away. One of them swaps it, and like for a different type, like brown sugar, white sugar.
Yeah.
One of them swaps it, and you know which one swapped it, basically.
Wow, that sounds great.
Um, uh, there's this thing called Everyday ESP, which I can do a few things with, which is I can. Do you know what it is or not?
It's Adam Dadswell's new thing.
Yeah, Adam does well. Yeah, that
Yeah,
one's good.
it is. It's very good actually. Yeah, I like that very much. It's got that little wallet in it as well that helps you do the peak.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I love that.
Um, I do a couple of things with one, which is like a Joker. This is something else now. A Joker sandwich type routine where a signed card appears between two Jokers, and also as well as some other sandwich routines which aren't that well practiced at the moment, so it's not on the list. And then it's similar to the Joker sandwich, similar method at least. Another one where a Joker turns into a signed card.
Oh wow.
Uh, what else do we have on here? I've skipped some stuff. Um, there's a few things like Trick 46 by Alexander, I can't remember who.
Eve
Which
Rowe.
yeah, that guy. Um and which I really like, but it's more it could be done close up, so I put it on the list, but it's probably more of a stage thing. Um
Okay.
or parlor thing.
Hold for a minute, just for a
Yep.
sec. So here's the thing. Um, do you know how to split cards?
Yeah.
Can you split them okay? Ish.
Normally, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So whenever I see a trick and I like it, but it becomes something that it's difficult to do close up, look at the method and kind of think to yourself, how else can I do it
Yeah.
where it would work better? And trick 46 is a great example. Like I'm guessing the reason you're kind of thinking, well, it's not the best trick to do in terms of close up is because you've got to prep the sweets beforehand, the little flying saucers and everything. Is that the reason?
I'd say not really. I think more to do with I mean it's not necessarily a problem, it's just more at least the way I perform it quite like big, I guess. Like
Ah, got you.
with the like words on the like with them reading out the text and
Got you.
stuff.
Okay, so it's kind of more one that will play for a pilot. Right. Okay. My point is totally unimportant then and doesn't. Right. Got it.
Well, what was your point, bro?
Well, I was going to say a really great trick if you can split cards, which I did for years, but I haven't done it in a while, is by Jay Sankey. And do you know Angle Z?
I don't recognize the name, no.
It's Daniel Madison's thing. Basically, let me show you. So this is a great trick, Jess. This is a fantastic trick. So I don't even know why this came into my head because I haven't done this in about 5 years, but you'll love this. It's a Jay Sankey trick. So get yourself a card, right? And if you can split a card and I can't, this is just brilliant. So what you're going to do is you're going to tear the corner off a card like this, right? You're just going to tear the corner off, yeah? And then you're going to split the bottom of the card. So the bottom of the card get, and I can't do that, but you split the bottom of the card, and then what you're going to do is you're going to put the corner that you've just torn off into. You see, you're annoying me now that you can do it that quickly. I could be here all day and I wouldn't be able to do that. That is so frustrating.
I've not done it. It's just all creased up.
It's getting there. It's better than I could do. But
Yeah.
when when you split it, look at this. You take the corner and you put it into the card, and then you take a little bit of glue, a little bit of Pritt stick, and you seal it back up. So in essence, what you've got is you've got a card with the corner missing, and it's actually inside the card. Now that you can sit there with a pack of cards and make up like a bunch of them, but the
Yeah.
handling is great. So what you do is when you want to do this trick, you have that card. So this is the prepped card. So this is the card with the corner in it. That's on top of the deck like that. Do you see that?
Yeah.
And I can't remember if this is the same force that Steve uses in Agent 46, but he does the world's easiest force. Look, it's just the easiest second deal in the world. Because you've got that corner missing, you're literally just doing the easiest second deal in the world. You're just saying, look, I'm going to deal through these cards. Just say stop anytime you want to. And whenever they say stop, you just take that card off, which is Madison's angle Z. You just take the card off and you pretend to tear the corner off like this. You give them the card and you say, watch the corner. And you make the corner vanish. And the corner's vanished. And you say, look, I'm going to make it come back. Wave the card over my hand. And they wave the card over and nothing happens. And then you have them tear open the card. And inside the card is the corner that just vanished.
That's pretty good. Yeah.
Really good. It's a really good trick. So it was something that Jay Sankey put on one of his many DVDs many years ago. But it's I remember like I paid somebody to make me like 400 of those things up that could split cards really well. And I just went to a gig and I just had 4 or 5 of them and I'd do it over and over and over and over again. So, I don't know why that came into my head, but because we're not
Prawn collar.
yeah, it must be. Um, but there you go. Try that because that is killer. That's a killer routine. You don't see anyone else doing it these days. But yeah, sorry, we got to Steve Rose, Agent 46. What we got next?
Um, I've lost where I got to. I do this thing where it might not, again, just like we've got to kind of a stuff which I do more part like stage parlor. Like there's this thing I do with a Mirage deck where it kind of like kind of to music, kind of talking, like talking and music, just to make it a bit more fun. Like where you kind of both deal piles out and you match the cards with like match them as in like 2 of hearts, 2 of diamonds, not two.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That, that's
Wow,
another one.
that sounds good. Uh, Brilliant. I'm writing that down. Okay, yep.
Um, Bit of rope stuff, like we said last week with the Professor Nightmare. Um, that's about all I had on the list
Okay,
of
no
what.
problem.
Yeah,
So, like I said to you last week, there's a lot of card stuff here,
yeah.
which is not a problem, but there is a lot of card stuff. So, how do you want, is that what you want? Do you want people looking at you as Jess is a card magician or Jess is a magician? Like, are you wanting to learn? I mean, you've got a bit of that stuff in there. You've got um, the chop cup, I suppose, and that's it, really, chop cup and the rope stuff. Um, are you wanting like people to look at? Because there's nothing wrong with that. My friend Daniel Chard is considered a card magician. He is, and he gets booked as an expert in card magic. He's not the only one. I remember once, by the way, going to a getting booked for a Christmas party, and do you know Daniel Chard?
I know who he is.
He's
I never
actually
met
around
him.
your neck of the woods, but he's an
Yeah.
amazing card magician, amazing card magician. And I remember going to a Christmas party once, being booked for a Christmas party. And when I got there, they said, "Oh, we've got another magician as well, because there's a lot of them. And you're going to do card magic, and we want you to just do card magic. And the other guy, he's going to do like non-card magic." I'm like, "Okay, no problem." And I was thinking, well, I'm pretty good at cards. It's not my strong point. I'd rather be the non-card guy because I do magic with coins and keys, and there's a million things I can do with non-cards. But it's fine. I'm more than comfortable doing just a 2 hour set with cards. And then Daniel Chard comes along, and they've booked him as the non-card magician. I'm like, in what world are you booked to be the non-card magician, and I'm booked to be the card magician? And we went to the client and we're like, we think you've got this the wrong way around. And they were like, no, we got to have it like that. So there's Daniel doing stuff like sponge balls, and there's me doing like, just didn't make any sense. Anyway, you didn't care about that. I don't care about that. That's not important. What's important is your set. So, um, you tell me, are you wanting to be a card magician, or are you wanting to expand your horizons when it comes to close-up magic?
I mean, ideally, like I'd rather expand my horizons and not be known as like a card magician, more of a just a general close up person. But that's obviously not quite as easy as just saying that
Yeah,
when everything I do is cards, basically.
a lot of stuff you do is cards. And I know you practice a lot. How come you've never practiced non-card material? Is there a reason for that? Is it because you just kind of gravitate towards card magic, or?
I mean, I don't know exactly, but I mean, I don't really have any non-card stuff to practice with, and I've never really got any non-card stuff to practice with,
Okay,
if you know
okay,
what I mean.
I do. Okay, I'm going to help you with that. It's non-card magic material. Okay, we'll put a pin in the non-card stuff. We can revisit that next week. Um, right. Okay. So this is your list of stuff that you have right now. Out of all of those routines, have you decided which ones would make a good opening trick?
Um, I wasn't. I thought that like some of them. I thought that no.
No. Okay, no problem. Well, there's certain things to take into consideration when you're doing an opening trick. It needs to be quick. It needs to be visual. It needs to establish credibility. And most importantly, so if you're doing mainly card material, which you are at the moment, if you use, for example, Invisible Deck makes a great opening routine because you can literally walk up to a table and you can say, I've got a deck of cards here. Can you name a card? Seven of diamonds. You're not going to believe this. One card and one card only is turned over in this deck. It's the seven of diamonds. That's a miracle. The problem with that trick is that you're now stuck with an invisible deck.
Yeah.
So, in order to go on to another trick in your set, you either have to incorporate a deck switch, or you have to openly put that deck of cards away and bring out another deck. So, when you're planning your opener, you do need to actually think about that sort of stuff. So, have you ever worked out sets with these tricks? If you haven't, it's not a problem because that's what we're going to do now. No.
No.
Okay, let's work out set number one. So, as we talked about Invisible Deck, and the reason we're doing this is because, again, it's a little bit like the website. We're setting up the website because that's what we need in order to get the bookings. We're
Yeah.
we're doing the set lists now because when we actually turn the floodgate on and we start getting lots and lots of inquiries coming through, you could literally have a gig the next day. And if you haven't got your set lists in place, it's kind of like, oh my God, I'm going to turn up to a gig. What am I going to do? I'm going to, you know what I mean? So it's kind of really important. So, set one, why don't we start? Is your invisible deck presentation like the standard invisible deck presentation that most people do?
Well, like yeah, one of them. I also do one in a bag. I think it may be yours actually. Or at least I don't know. Someone taught it to me once, and I think they may have mentioned you. But it's like the you shake it in the bag, you show it like mixed up. Um,
Uh,
and then
yeah,
yeah,
it's a great trick. It's based. I published it on a project called Visible.
yeah,
It's based on Shake and Bake uh, by Steve Bedwell, and Steve used to do it with a pot noodle container. So he would take the cards and put it in a pot noodle container, and it's kind of like a Triumph type thing. It's
yeah.
yeah, it's fun. It's a great way of doing it, especially if you're doing it to sort of a stand-up audience. Okay, cool. Let's just use the standard invisible deck for now in presentation for this set. So, you never said ambitious card. Do you do ambitious card?
Oh, yeah, yeah. I thought I said that one. Sorry.
No, that's okay. Okay. So let's do a nice little three trick set. So you've just done invisible deck. So now you've done invisible deck. If you're going to move on with a card set, there's two things that we need to consider. One, how are we going to get a regular trick? How are we going to get a regular card? Sorry, how are we going to switch in a regular deck? Because what you don't want to do is go, well, that was a trick with that deck. Let me put this one away and get a different deck of cards out. That kind of looks a bit crap. So we need to work out how to actually switch that deck. But then we actually have to work out the transition. So in other words, how do you go from an invisible deck to whatever trick that you're going to go to next? What do you say in order to get into that? So with invisible deck, I would suggest a really good set would be to go into ambitious card. And the reason is very, very simply, I mean, obviously this depends on if you've got pockets. I'm assuming when you perform, you're going to have pockets. You're going to have various different pockets. So a pocket switch is the best way to switch one deck for the other. So you can have let's say you have a regular deck in your back pocket. So you've just done an invisible deck. You put the deck away. You say, actually, I'm going to need a pen. Both hands go into their pockets to look for a pen. The right hand comes out with the pen, as the left hand comes out, apparently holding the same deck, but you've switched a deck in. So it effectively allows you to switch a deck. And the reason for going to your pocket is because you're looking for a pen. But if you're going to have a pen, you have to go into a routine that requires you to use a pen, which is really card under box or ambitious card. So let's
Yeah,
go into ambitious card because that allows us, from a transitional point of view, to go, okay, so we've just, you've just seen that actually, let's do yeah. So you've just seen how I can predict a card that you've named by turning it over in the deck beforehand. Let me see if we can take this to the next level. I'm going to have you sign this card. I'm going to have you sign a card. By signing the card, it makes the card unique. So, in other words, it's the only card like it in the world. It means I can't do sleight of hand. I can't cheat. Watch this, and then you kind of go into ambitious card. So it's an interesting one to go into because you've gone from that sort of self-working prediction into kind of something that's a little bit more visual, if that makes sense. Does that work for you?
yeah,
So let's do that. So invisible deck into ambitious card. Now, how do you end your ambitious card? I think you told me last week, but I can't remember.
yeah. Arrange. Card show. Card type a mystery solved. David Penn. Card just anywhere really. Just like
Okay.
in pocket if I don't want to
Okay. So
fold
it's
it
a
up.
card to impossible location as a finale, yeah?
Yeah,
So ambitious card into card to impossible location, wherever that impossible location will be. Okay, cool. Um, Now, how can we finish it using this list? You know what I would finish it with? Unless I would finish that with stand up Monty.
yeah,
Because then here's your transition. You put the deck of cards away and you say, hang on, stand up Monty. Okay, so you put the deck of cards away and you say, look, you've just had the card go into your shoe, or whatever the case may be. You just go, now, you're probably wondering how that worked. How did the card keep coming to the top of the deck? How did the card end up in my shoe? A lot of people think, oh my gosh, you must be a magician. You must have magical powers. Did you sacrifice a goat before coming to this gig today? And the answer is no. It's actually sleight of hand. I've actually spent years studying sleight of hand to be able to do this sort of stuff. And it means that I can do so much with sleight of hand. Let me give you an example. and then you finish off by doing, or people, or you use the transition of people ask me, is this stuff really useful in the real world? Yes, it is, because it means that I can cheat at cards anytime I want to. Let me show you what I mean. Watch this, boom, and then you kind of go into stand-up Monty. Does that make sense? So what
Yeah.
we have now is we have a nice little set there. Boom, there it is. So you have Invisible Deck going into Ambitious Card with a Card to Impossible Location finale and Stand Up Monty. Now, I'm going to do one more of these sets for you, but I'm going to leave you to try and create as many as you want to.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, sets can involve the same trick. So you can have a second set now that still starts with Invisible Deck, or perhaps even closes with Invisible Deck. So you can have the same trick in more than one set. But having these sets and kind of almost like committing them to memory really helps when you first start performing in the real world. I'll be honest, I don't really use sets anymore, but I did for years because it means. Have you ever done this? I know you haven't performed professionally per se, but have you ever been like performing a set of tricks to friends or family, and you kind of get to a point and you just can't think of another trick to do, you've done one trick, or somebody asks you, "Hey, Jess, can you do a trick for me? You're a magician. Can you do a trick?" And even though you know all these different tricks, and you've got a deck of cards in front of you, you're sitting there and you're thinking, I can't even think about what to do. I can't. Do you know what I mean? It's because
Yeah.
you're being put on the spot. But if we have these sets in place and you kind of go, right, okay, set one, invisible deck, ambitious card, stand up Monty, boom, that's a set, right? So immediately you can go, yeah, I'm going to do this. On the next group, I'm going to do this. So let's do one more set. And I'll send this over to you as well. So we're going to do one more set. And this time, another thing that sometimes you might want to consider when doing close-up magic, especially, is bringing everything full circle. You know what I mean by that? Like,
Yeah.
yeah. So a way to do that and a way to bring everything full circle is by using the tactic of giving something out at the beginning, which is going to become important later on. So I'll give you an example. Using Invisible Deck as a closer instead of an opener, but giving the deck out at the beginning. And this is something that I used to do in restaurants all the time. So I'd walk up to a group of people and I'd say, "Hey, my name's Craig. I'm the magician here today. How you doing? You having a good meal? You are? Fantastic. Well, it's my job to come around and do magic for you. And I'll be honest with you, I'm going to try and influence you during the course of the next few minutes while I'm being here with you. I'm going to influence you to do one thing. Can you hold on to this deck of cards? Put it in your pocket. Now, I'm going to tell you I reversed one card in that deck. I turned one card over. I'm not going to tell you what it is. I'm never going to say that card out loud. But I promise you, if I do this right, the last thing I ask you to do is name a card. And believe it or not, that will be the card that I turned over in that deck. So you're making a very bold claim right at the very beginning. You're like, hey, this is what's going to happen. Now, I know normally we don't tell people how, what you're going to do ahead of time, but that's kind of really an interesting hook. It's kind of like because now they're like, what? She's going to influence me? Influence me to think of a card that I did? How's she going to do that? So now it's kind of creating intrigue, and it's going to allow us to bring everything full circle. So with this second set, you're going to end on Invisible Deck, but you're going to hand it out right at the very beginning. So what I wouldn't do is I wouldn't go from handing a deck out to bringing out another deck, at least not straight away. So I think Chop Cup would be a good thing here.
Yeah.
So as an opening routine, Chop Cup is great because it really looks impressive. Um, but as well as looking impressive, it's kind of that multi-phase thing, and it's one of those rare tricks that gets better each phase, gets more and more impressive, and you've got that big finish at the end. I think doing a chop cup at the end of it, doing a chop cup, sorry, would be a great opener. So we'll put chop cup in there. Apparently, I'm using chip cup. Right, so chop cup. We need another trick to go in between chop cup and invisible deck. What do you reckon? I've got an idea, but I want to know what you think.
Mm. Um. So,
And here's the thing, there's no right or wrong here, Jess.
yeah.
What I mean by that is there genuinely is no right and wrong. That creating set lists is just as long as it feels logical to you, then it's
Yeah.
great. So for me, if I was doing this set, I would do socks then because now
Yeah.
we've got a very much a set that's kind of non-card material that leads to a strong card finish. And I think the impossibility of the invisible deck being the finale, the thing that makes it truly impossible is the fact that you've influenced them into naming the card that's reversed in the deck, but without at any point having a deck of cards in play other than that deck. So how could you? So I don't think you should be bringing another deck of cards in at that point. So I would say socks because that's a great transition from chop cup, because it allows you to say, right, okay, so you've just produced whatever, a lemon, a lime, a cucumber, whatever, I don't know. You just produce something from under your cup, right? And you go, well, what you just saw there was sleight of hand. It's me being faster than the eye. But you might not realize this. But as well as sleight of hand, magicians use something called sleight of mind. It's kind of weird, but what it allows you to do is it allows you to predict every action that somebody's going to make. Let me give you an example. Do you ever find that you mix your socks up, or whatever the case may be, whatever your presentation is, you're now going to socks? Socks is a really strong moment, which is going to give us what I'm a big wrestling fan. In wrestling, this would be called a false finish. But basically, what it means is they are going to think that the socks routine is the end of your set because it is such a strong trick. But it allows us to then say, but do you remember I gave you a deck of cards at the very, very beginning of I gave you a deck of cards at the very, very beginning, and with any luck, after chopped up and socks, they will have forgotten about that deck of cards. And this whole idea of giving an invisible deck out at the beginning and then bringing it back at the very, very end, that's a friend of mine called Nemid Phoenix. He does that in every show, and I think he's one of the best close-up magicians in the world. So that would be a great thing to do. So you open by giving someone a deck of cards, and you say, "I'm going to try and influence you." You then go from that into chop cup, and you kind of go through this whole sleight of hand thing. You then talk about sleight of mind, and you go into socks, and you finish off by saying, "But do you remember I said I was going to influence you? Do you feel influenced? You don't feel influenced? You've been holding onto a deck of cards the whole time. Since handing you that deck of cards, I haven't talked about playing cards. I haven't mentioned playing cards. I haven't mentioned the values of cards or suits of cards. But if I've done this right, you'll now be thinking of the card I want you to think of. What card is that? All right, okay. Well, can you give me the cards back? Because there is one card turned over in this deck. What did you say again? The blah 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 blah. Turn it over, and it is that card. What a strong way to finish a set, right? That's an incredibly strong set. What do you think?
Yeah.
Does that work for you?
Yeah, definitely.
And do you see what I mean about how you're creating flow? So that's two sets now. So if you go to a gig tomorrow and you take all of that stuff that you say you can do, that you're perfectly happy with, and you've got it loaded all over you and you're ready to go, now you can walk up to your first group and you can go, right, okay, I know what I've got to do now. Right, I'm gonna go into set number one. And in your head, you go into set number one. I'm gonna go into set number two, whatever the case may be. So what I want you to do for next week is try to create a few different sets that you think work. And as I say, there's no right or wrong for this. I will send you that list that I've just made. So I'll send you the list of close-up effects and also the two sets that I've made. Let's do that. There you go. I've bombarded you with stuff. Uh, so you've got two sets there. Try to make a few more sets because that's going to get you ready for performing to real people. One last question. Is there a reason you haven't mentioned any sort of tech-based magic? Do you do any tech-based magic?
No, I don't do any tech magic.
Is that because you don't want to? It's never appealed to you, or
No, I just don't have any tech magic really.
I just think that'd suit you because you're 17, phone 17. I remember
Yeah.
did you ever see that girl that went on Australia's Got Talent?
No.
There was a really, I know we're about to finish, but just give me 1 second. There was really, um, Was it that one? I think this was it. Ah, yes. Um, have a look at this quickly. Can I share the screen with you quickly?
Yeah.
Can you see, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay, so like most teenagers, I am permanently attached to my phone. Unfortunately, I'm currently banned off all technology at the moment. You don't need to know why. Basically means I need to borrow a phone from one of the judges for my act today. So, who's gonna trust a 15-year-old with their phone? Alicia, thank you so much.
Don't, whatever you do, go through the search history.
Okay, so what if I could unlock your phone without you telling me the password?
Well, that would be genius.
Okay, now look into my eyes. I'm going to try and reach into your mind and find it. You're trying so hard not to picture your password. Okay, I got it.
Oh, right. Yes. Okay.
Okay, so now for everyone's favorite thing, audience participation.
She was like a nervous wreck before.
Okay, so if you had a birthday last year, please stand up. If you were born on an even day of the month, can you hold your hands out like this as if you're holding your birthday present? And if you were born on an odd day of the month, hold your hands together as if you're making a birthday wish. Okay, now everyone just hold that pose. I'm gonna take a photo and tell my mum I got a standing ovation. Okay, you can all sit down now if you like. So now, Shane, I have yellow and red colored silk. Can you please name one for me?
Yellow.
Yellow? Okay. So then you can have the yellow one. You can get out your phone and try and copy what I do. So that leaves me with the red one.
Not now, sweetheart. Really busy. Got to call you back. Bye.
Can everyone watch? Yes. Nice try. You can have your phone back now. Thank you. Okay, and David, we don't want to leave you out. So as you can see, I have 8 balloons here. Can you please name one balloon, like name a number from 1 to 8 for me?
7.
7?
Yeah.
Okay, so now most people, they go with something easier, like 3.
7.
Okay, so you didn't pick 1? You didn't pick 2? You sure you don't want to pick 3?
I'm sure.
You didn't pick 4? Or 5? Or 6? Pick 7?
Yes.
Okay. All right, now everyone, don't blink.
Anyway, the point is, when you start performing, you're going to be going into situations where corporates and weddings, you're a young female magician, there's going to be people that are judging you. You know what I mean? It's like, can she, Ryland gets it. Like, oh, can he
Yeah.
magic? He's 12 years old. Um, I think that what she did really well was kind of lean into the technology thing, lean into the whole, hey, I'm a teenage girl, I've got a phone, now that might not work for you, and it's your own personality is important, which is good. But I would say maybe doing some sort of tech magic would work really well for you. I don't know what you think.
Yeah, probably.
Well, it's up to you. If you want me to go through some tech magic with you over the next couple of weeks that you can
Yeah.
practice, I can do that for you as well. You just let
Yeah, that'd be good.
Yeah. One last question before we wrap this up. I think we've gone over an hour, but this has been really good. Did you find out about the 13th of September?
I did. I asked my mum. I've not asked my dad yet, but that's fine. She's the one who'll be taking me anyway. She said yeah.
Brilliant stuff. That's exciting. So we've got something to work on with the stage acts, and that's really good. So I'm getting the poster design this week. So send me some pictures over on WhatsApp so I can put them in the poster. That's brilliant. Okay, right. So you've got a lot to work on. Have a think about tech magic, whether you want to include that in your act. Start creating some set lists. Start thinking about set lists. Carry on working on the website. Think about your alt text on the images. Think about the keywords. Maybe follow that stuff that I sent you from ChatGPT. Think about your branding. Think about your colors. Carry on designing that homepage. Keep posting on social media. That's a lot. I don't want to overload you, but that's a lot to do this week. So,
Very good.
do you have any questions for me?
Only about the website. Like, if it's a long answer, we'll save it for another time. But, the different pages on the website.
Mhm.
You know how you've got like the home, the about, the services, etc. Would you recommend having like separate pages for each of them, or have it like go down, like all be one page and the links kind of take you lower down the page?
Yeah, look, there's no right or wrong, and it's
Yeah.
personal preference. I've always preferred having separate pages, and
Yeah.
I'll tell you why I think it's better having separate pages, and then it's your decision. So, the reason I prefer having separate pages simply is this. You can have a page on wedding magic, you can have a page on corporate magic, you can have a page on close-up magic, you can have a page on stage shows, you can create pages for each individual thing. Now, you can then optimize those pages for whatever it is that you're searching for, whatever it is. So on your wedding page, you can optimize it so that when people search wedding magician in Wiltshire, you show up, and you can have adverts, and we haven't got into PPC or anything like that, but you can have adverts and PPC, and you can have blogs that direct people through to specific pages, and you can have it go through to a very specific page. So, for example, I have adverts up at the moment. I do a lot of PPC on Slightly Unusual. I have an ad going up at the moment for wedding magicians, and it's targeting brides and grooms. When they click on the link, it doesn't take you through to the home page; it takes you through to the wedding page. So now they're searching for wedding magic, they're seeing a link through to my website, and they're landing on the correct website that shows them exactly what it is that they're looking for. If you have one long page and it's not specifically about one particular subject, it's about lots of different subjects, they might land on the correct area, but then there's lots of do you know what I mean? So for me,
Yeah.
I've always preferred having separate pages. I also think I don't like it when there's a big long page and I have to scroll down forever. I kind of get bored. I like it when I can see at the top, right? Okay. Oh, illusion show. That's what I'm looking for. Click. Right. I know that's
Yeah.
exactly what it is that I'm looking for right now. Or cabaret. That's what I want. Click. So for me, but look, I know I'm not, there's other people that have one long page, and I'm mentoring somebody at the moment in the Netrix, and I've actually advised this person to have one page. So because of the specific situation that they're in. So there's no right or wrong with it, but personally, I've always found it best if you do it that way.
Okay.
But
Thank you.
we can delve more into that. But it's
Yeah.
totally up to you. Again, have a look around the websites that are online. Have a look and see if there's anything that you kind of go, you know what, I actually like it like that. And if you like it like that, go for it. There's no right or wrong. That's the nice thing. You're creating this brand about yourself, not about anyone else. So, or I can advise you on what I would do, but it doesn't mean that that's the correct way to do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Awesome. Any other questions?
No, I don't think so. Thank you.
Well, you've been brilliant. You've been awesome. A lot to
Thank
get
you.
on with. For everybody watching this, if you haven't already done so, go over to Instagram and follow Jess's Instagram account, because she's posting regularly on there, and it's all awesome. The color changing deck was amazing. And I will be back with Jess next week. Until then, leave a comment down below. Let you know what Jess. Let us know what you think of Jess's journey. Any advice you've got for her, leave it down below as well. And Jess, it's been amazing seeing you, and I'll see you again next week.
Thank you.
Bye.